Red Moose Farm, and this is the last one. Aside from sheep, well, aside from the recent swales and sheep addition, what's the next big permaculture homestead project for the SOE property? It's a good question, and I've had a lot of people asking me what's the plan, and the truth is I don't know, and I haven't really thought about it, because I feel like when I verbalize it, I'm either going to fail or I have to make it happen, and I'm really focused on what I'm doing right now, and I don't want to have to start or get the funds for another $500,000 project or something, because I'm really fucking comfortable. It's that complacency thing right now. I'm pretty fucking comfortable. I am not working out at the level I should. I definitely don't have my meal planning anywhere near where it should be. I'm eating fucking donuts and shit. I haven't had ice cream in probably 90 days, well, 60 days maybe, but I did have some donuts some asshole brought me. And then Amanda's like, you want anything from Walmart? I'm like, I only want not chocolate, not clear donuts, not chocolate. What's the brown ones?
Oh, like crumble or something?
No.
I can't think of
maple. I only want maple donuts. She's like, they don't have maple donuts. I'm like, yes, they do. They come in a box with chocolate, maple, and clear coat, right? Or whatever that is, glaze. So, and they weren't even good. And I ate one, and then the next morning I ate one, and I just threw all the others away today. So chickens eat a lot of donuts.
That's the way it is.
Like, I'm not taking care. I'm not doing the things I know I should be doing, because I'm working, right? I'll do my thing is, every time I walk in the garage, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. I should be doing a minimum of 100. My chest has always been lacking. I've got arms, my back is in, my shoulders are fucking in place. Like, I've got my shoulders, rear delt, front, everything's there. I'm lacking in chest. I always have been. And I can fix a lot of that just through push-ups, or at least develop it better, right? Every time I walk in the garage, I should jump on those perfect push-ups. They're badass. They fucking pivot. They got rubber on the bottom, red anodized handles. I have custom billet aluminum SOE push-ups even, with combat cocks on them. I don't remember who built that. If that's you, tell me. And I'm not doing that. And why am I not? Because I hate doing push-ups. Everybody can do biceps, right? Everybody can do lat pull. What are all these feathers all over in here?
That was probably from the
quail. Quail. And I should be doing that, and I'm not. So as far as projects, I haven't really pinned any of them down. The truth is, most of the things that you guys have seen the last 10 years, none of it's planned. Like, none of it's planned. The only real planned stuff we did, and that wasn't even really planned. We showed when we bought the property, I never planned to put SOE on the property. And then when we started building the property, I never planned to put the company in the building here. We just started building the property, and started doing things. And I was super excited when the contractors were in here. I was really excited every day. We were never checking on them. We were in here out of excitement to see what had changed. It was something brand new to us. So we would come in here with a camera and we would show it to you guys. And the truth is, most of the stuff we did, especially the coolest of things here, it was because of you guys. It was your input. We were excited to show you, and you guys were excited to see it. And guys would just throw crazy shit out. Like, there was a crack in the there was a little VIP lounge up top. There was a DJ booth and a VIP lounge. And it was small, man. It wasn't even as big as this room. It was 65 feet across, because that's the width of the building. But it was only, I'll bet it was 10 feet wide. And it was covered in carpet. And when we started pulling it out, there was carpet on top of carpet on top of carpet. And then some assholes had broken like Reddy-crete up there. So when I was standing there with the contractor, I'm like, do you see that crack down there? He's like, yeah. I go, it'd be cool if this VIP lounge went out to that crack. And where the VIP lounge was, there was a support beam. So you actually, to get up to the VIP lounge, you had to duck under to go to the other, like from here to there.
Yeah.
So they built this deck in there. I remember they built this deck, and then they raised it up, and I'm like, no, this is way too high, right? Lower it down. So they lower it down, then we'd walk downstairs, and I'm like, this is way too low, lower it up, right? So we got kind of a happy medium, and we never could have done that in Nashville or California or somewhere because of codes, right?
Yeah.
You could never put that level in there, but we could because we don't have codes or zoning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple times, you'll only do it once or twice, but you will hit your head on a hurry on that beam. That's why there's like that walkway upstairs to the high
Right
point.
in the middle, yeah.
And then where the beams are, I have kind of like walls of shit, right?
Yeah.
There's fucking skulls and skeletons and the throne and the suits of armor and shit because it funnels you through the opening.
Mm.
Because I'll be in a hurry and I'll come out of that bathroom excited while they were doing tattoos or something, and I fucking hit my head on that beam and it will crack your head open.
Yeah.
So, but it was you guys. Like, hey, you should do a spiral staircase. Oh, that sounds awesome. You guys should do a fire pole. Oh, that sounds... Next big project on the homestead. Man, you guys have had some good questions that gave me a lot of content and shit to think about too. And a lot of these questions in this week's made me realize that I am not performing at the level that I need to be performing at. Like when you're asking what's next property-wise, and I don't have an answer, I should have fucking 10 answers to that, right? We're lacking in everything we've already done, and we're just doing more of it. The aquaponics setup, while it looks like a fucking jungle out there, I've got like cucamelons growing all through water hyacinth. The water hyacinth, because it has cooled down a little bit, has taken off to the point it's actually sticking out of the water higher than the IBC totes are. I just took a ton of it and put it up into the upper pond. I've been feeding it to rabbits to get rid of some of it. I really don't want to let it go in the big pond because it will cover the surface. Now, we could take it out of there. We could, claw it out. We have these like nets that you can throw out. I used to do something that you guys probably don't do. No, I used to work for a company called the Pond Doctor, and we did pond maintenance. We did all the Hyatt Regency hotel locations near the beaches all have ponds and waterfalls, and they have parrots. So I got to fuck with all these parrots, and I got to stand in all these ponds and climb waterfalls and scrub these waterfalls inside of all these hotel locations. Pretty neat as a young guy. But I did pond maintenance, and part of our job is we would go to these closed gated communities that had golf courses and shit, and we would go out there and take the water hyacinth and throw it out onto the shore, and then we would haul it away and dispose of it. Well, to dispose of it now, and we had these things that you just throw out. It was like a rake head. You just throw it out there and then pull it back in, and it would pull all this shit to the shore. So we can dispose of it by feeding it to chickens. We can dispose of it by composting it. We can dispose of it by feeding it to rabbits. And if you took 100 pounds of it, and it wouldn't take much to make 100 pounds because it's full of water. It's the majority of the plant composition is water, and you let it break down for a week, your 100 pounds would be probably 2 pounds of material, if that. So it grows really well. You can use it as a food source. A lot of places it's illegal to plant it or to put it in a pond because if it gets into the waterways it will overtake and overgrow. Tennessee, we freeze all the time, so I don't think it will overwinter here, though I don't know that. We will soon see. So our aquaponics stuff has always been lacking because we've never maintained it. I'm really good at starting things, and I always use the excuse, I'm like, yeah, this kind of looks shitty because, and I adapted. I didn't know I didn't have a term for it, but stun, sheer, total, utter neglect, right? And I'd heard that before. I don't remember who keyed that term. I think Greg Judy, but Billy Bond uses it all the time on permapastures, and that's kind of what I do. I put things in motion, like these potatoes out here. I've only watered them 4 times this year. I've never taken care of them or maintained them. The sweet potatoes in the raised bed carts, I water that shit, not nearly like I should, and we still produce food. So my thought is always like, well, if we ever really have to do this, we're going to really take care of it and the food production will triple. I've never tested that theory, right? With Billy and those guys coming down here and then having Self-Reliance Festival, I kind of have to have the place look different. The place has to look like there's progress. So that holds me accountable also. But this question, Red Moose Farm, what's next? I should have a lot of answers for that. Now, we've spoken about The first swales that we put in 9, and we put them 9 feet apart, because in theory 9 feet apart I should be able to drive the tractor through there to just kind of cut those and compass those trees off. I can't get a mower through there, so, and it's on a downhill, a slight downhill, and then it's trench, berm, flat ground, trench, berm, flat ground, and it goes down, and there's 9 of them. They are so overgrown that the grass has grown through, and the grass has actually done so well there that it's up taller than the buckwheat and the cowpeas are, and it's a lot of it has just choked out those trees. So I go to mow, and my mower's too wide to go through there. So my fix is I'm actually getting a little riding lawnmower, or get one of these here, one of the traditional old like Craftsman riding mowers, so I can hog that down and actually kind of get some sunlight to that other stuff and see what's really there. We're probably going to redo those 9 berms. We're going to make them bigger and fewer, and we're going to have the spill from the big berm up top spill into those 9, and then they will spill from there into a pond that we're going to put out there. All those trees I put inside the horse fencing, when you come on the property, that 3-panel or 4-panel fencing that comes around the whole front, we're going to probably take all those trees out of there. Some of them, about, I'd say, I don't know how many's there. I think there's 26 there. I would say 16 of them are actually making it, and now, right now is when we're really going to tell, now that it's kind of cooled off. And I'd say that we lost probably 6 of those trees. But I think what we're going to do is put a swale, that entire fence line, big swale, and then plant into the berms, because we took it and we were going to do all kinds of shit to put them in the ground, and when we started drilling the holes in the ground, they held water for like a week, so they would just rot the roots out. So Nick Ferguson said, hey, just put fucking piles of mulch there, which we did, and plant in there, and he said the roots will chase down and find ground and they'll start going. And some of them seem to have worked, some of them didn't. And then we also didn't anticipate 105 degree weather. Hot weather here is typically 90. So the first, I was out there every night for a month putting water on those trees, and I really questioned, hearing Nicole say some things, I questioned whether I'm better off to let those trees struggle and make stronger stalk, or baby those trees and maybe it makes them weaker, right? So I don't know what the better solution was, but that's one of the plans, is to probably put a much larger swale, and that'll give us hundreds of more feet of swale. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, you're talking about the fruit trees that run along the fence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, like, is those, you kind of neglected them already, like you didn't put them in right away, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, so
no.
they were sitting
the
around.
problem when you buy trees, it's never the time to plant the trees.
Yeah.
You want to plant the trees in fall when they go dormant, and then they sit through the winter and they kind of start to wake up and come back alive in the spring and put on in the summer.
Yeah.
But you can't ever buy.
Yeah, there's no trees out there.
There's no trees to be had.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer to that is, but that is, I guess I do have some plans with that. Another plan is that this building's getting moved back and in line with this building over here. This building we have cribbed up really high so that my guys could get under it and spray foam it, and we didn't ever drop it back down, and it's cribbed up really just kind of on the corners on rail ties, half rail ties. It's really high, it's at an angle, like it leans this way, which you guys probably can't see it in the camera, but it like, you notice it when you come in here, man. It's like, what the fuck is up with this building? It's like a house of mirrors almost. A fun
I think
house.
part of that is when you tried to burn it down.
Well, it did catch on fire,
Yeah.
and it burnt all night. We were really lucky. Cody was like, hey, there's a fire there. There's video of that, and we had it on the security camera. You could see the flame coming out all night. We were so lucky we didn't lose this building.
It was like smoldering for a long time,
It's the
and then
creosote.
like even after you guys tried to put it out, it kept smoldering.
Yep.
I think that's been out already, so it's a day on the compound if somebody wants to look for it.
It's in there.
Yeah.
So we're going to drop this building back down, and then when it gets leveled, it's actually going to be set. Every beam underneath will have cinder blocks, and it'll be 2 cinder blocks this way and 2 cinder blocks this way with a top cap, and they'll all be mounted in perfectly. So this building will be ridiculously stable at that point. But it'll go in line with that, which will reclaim 14 feet of this parking lot right here. It'll reclaim 14 feet of the gravel. I just want everything to look uniform. And I know a lot of guys don't want that because it draws attention when it looks uniform, but it drives me nuts. That's why I use $160 roller carts right now, because we already had a bunch and I want them to look uniform. I like when we fly the drone over. What I really love is that in these square foot gardening groups and these different garden groups I'm on in Facebook, when they put a picture in and everything just looks planned out, right? I love going to like botanical gardens, and it's like some Celtic design when you look at it from the air, right?
Yeah.
Or like shrub mazes, and I just love like old manor houses and shit like that. I used to like to go to the Balboa Park, and they had this huge atrium dome, looked like a big dome, and it's so big inside, even though it's completely enclosed, birds would get in there and live in the environment, right? There'd be mourning doves in there with nests and shit in there.
Yeah.
Koi in the water and stuff like that.
I think too, like, it doesn't have to look pretty, but it is annoying to not have it look pretty. Like, I have some neighbors who have gardens that it looks like it was just weeds grown there, but if you go look at it, it's actual gardens.
But you wouldn't go there to steal.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
That's the point.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, like, I always put things where I want things to go is never where things should go, right? When we planted the first fruit trees, or the blueberries, for instance, when we planted the first blueberries, we put them in 10 feet apart. That wasn't far enough. And I put them 6 feet from the fence. That wasn't far enough. It's really hard to get a mower through. And then all these new trees I put in, I thought I had enough room between them and the fence, and I don't. I don't have enough room to run the full-size mower through there in the direction it needs to go. I could run it the other direction, but it will shoot all the grass out into the gravel, and then I'll have basically be planting grass in the driveway. So I have to go a certain way. I should have, instead of being 10 feet out, it was 10 feet this time out from the fence. I should have put it at like probably 15 feet out. And then now that they're full grown and I've got pumpkins through all that shit now, I can't mow around the mulch rings for the tree with the mower that I have. So I literally have to get a different mower, just a small like water boy mower, I'm buying another mower literally just to mow around these things so that it looks uniform. So that's something I should have done, because it's like a fucking jungle. And now the pumpkins have gotten to the fence and grown up, but I'm of the belief that as beautiful as it is for those pumpkins to trellis, it puts energy into those plants growing and takes energy away from making the pumpkin. Because if you look at as much pumpkin as on the trellis, there's not a single pumpkin growing on the trellis. The pumpkins are over on the ground. And then every year I also pumpkins have grown out there for 3 or 4 years, and I baby them and I'm out there watering them all the time, and then eventually I'm just like, fuck it, once they start growing. And we never get but like one pumpkin anyways, because they're not planted pumpkins, they're like out of pump, so who knows what's really growing. Yep. And I'm about to have 1,000 people here, so I want it to not look like it, like, man, John hadn't done shit here for the last 4 months.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you just drive up and you see it overgrown, but
like you guys don't realize how hard it is for me not to mow that and make it uniform. Like, because we have the sheep now, and we're like, the grass is taller right now than it's ever been, and I hate walking through it and have the grass touch your calf or your ankle, because you feel like bugs on you. And you know why you feel like that? Because you have fucking bugs on you. That's why. So I did mow a path, but like when I went through that lower field last week with the 4-wheeler. The grass is taller than the 4-wheeler.
Really?
Like the grass is touching me on the face when I ride through there. So
I have that with just like basic yard work, because we lived in a house where the owner neglected the house for like 30 years, and I tried so hard to get that yard to look nice, but it was so overgrown and fucked up that by the time we left, it was just starting to look neutral. It wasn't looking good, but it wasn't looking bad.
Yeah.
And so I never want to have my house look like that. But it's that struggle, like I have a lot other things I can be doing instead of mowing the lawn, but I want my lawn.
That's one of
nice.
those things, right? So I can put the beets work great. I mow with them. I'm out in the rain with them. I've got a light bar on the mower. I can put on survival podcast or audiobook. And I can just go mow. And I like.
Once I'm out there, I love it. It's like my favorite thing to do. But it's getting out there and getting it done is the problem.
And then you have like what length do I want it all cut at 2 inches?
Yeah.
But really, I need to cut it at 6 inches, and then a few days later, cut it at 4 inches, and then maybe, like, you got to let sun get to it. If you just cut it down and you don't get any rain and it's hot, it'll just kill it. You won't ever get grass for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you cut it, you want to cut it at 2, but you can't because it's putting so much material down. That stuff sits and rots and rows.
Yeah.
So you really got to cut it 3 times. There is science to it. I like watching the YouTube channels. There's a couple dudes, and they just go around, drive around, and see some totally unkept lawn, and while the person's at work or whatever, they totally clean the place up.
Yeah.
Like, so unkept that the sidewalk has 6 inches of dirt and plants have grown, right? They reclaim the sidewalk and trim it up, and then they'll like knock on the door like, hey, can I mow your lawn for free, right? Sometimes they ask them and stuff.
Yeah.
I think those are neat videos.
I want to do that because there's people like that in my neighborhood. We have a weird neighborhood where
they'll take it shitty though.
Yeah.
They won't take it like you're trying to help them.
Yeah, it's not even trying to help them. I just want to mow more lawn, you know. But I'm afraid that I'm going to offend them, and then I got to live near them.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll go because we could do it in Camden here.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just go into town, find some lady that needs her shit mowed,
yeah,
and we'll just do it free. But you know the thing, like I find when I do nice things for people, it backfires.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I didn't want it mowed
that way,
vertical.
Yeah.
I want it mowed horizontal. I don't want it mowed in circles, right?
Yep.
And when I mow, I do the first few strips away so that it ejects the grass in, because I don't want any of my grass out on the sidewalk. And even when I mow the gas station next door a lot of times.
Yeah.
And when I do, I drive back over the opposite direction, so it blows any grass that was on the concrete. It blows it back in the grass.
Yeah, I do that. So
I also mow the highway out here.
I have to weed eat. We've got like a sidewalk.
I hate weed eating. I hate string trimming.
So I do that, and then there's trimmings there, and I do the same thing where the trimmings from the mower fly back into the lawn. So I will raise up the blade and drive over the sidewalk just so it's like a big fan.
Yep.
And then it'll get that back in there too.
Yep. Well, guys, good questions this week. Thanks. Thunderdome. If you're Thunderdome level, so this membership, the membership level 1 is $1. And you can get in here and ask questions just like everybody did. Thunderdome level 2 is the exact same thing, but you'll see some people put order numbers and shirt sizes. At level 2, we pick out of level 2 questions the ones that we like the best, and we send you guys some free shit. And last week, 5 people got it. Week before that, 3 got it. Week before that, 6 people got it. We're going to send some stuff out. We haven't sent anybody just a shirt. We've always sent some extra stuff, which is why we asked for your last order number. That allows us to just pull up and see your account, look at your orders, and see what color stuff you like, or see, hey, this guy doesn't care, he likes whatever, right? And then we determine what we're going to send you. And I think that we've done pretty good sending guys stuff out. We'll pick some winners out of here, and it'll be on the back end of this video. We'll do that here in a minute. And thanks for being part of what we're doing, guys. Like, I mean, we could have a fucking airplane crash here. That could probably be a problem.
Yeah.
Sucks for those guys. I hope it doesn't hit my building, but
yeah, man, I'm talking about realest, one of the realest to try. My family, SOE, got the tools to survive.